All right, hello and welcome back to another episode of the PlantFueled Femme. Today we have a special guest with us, and I'm super excited to dive into our conversation here. But our guest is Kimberly Brown. She's a meditation teacher. She's also an author, and she works with helping women find a compassion and, most importantly, self-compassion. So, welcome, Kimberly, to our PlantFueled Femme podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Clarissa.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have a conversation with you today. So, self compassion, I think, is a wonderful topic. And I think it's an area that unfortunately a lot of women struggle with. So, I'm kind of excited to dive in and get your viewpoint on some self compassion. You've written a couple of books. Are they also on finding self compassion?
Yes, they each book, one is about grief, navigating grief and loss.
Okay.
One is called Happy Relationships, and the other one is Steady, Calm, and Brave. And what they all share is meditations and exercises to help develop this capacity for connection, for kindness to ourselves and kindness to others too.
Right. That is amazing. So meditation. How did you find yourself in this space of using meditation?
Yeah. I had originally trained to be a psychotherapist, and it wasn't my path, so
Okay.
I left that, that way, and um, I was beginning to have panic attacks and a lot of anxiety.
Oh,
And I didn't really have many tools to deal with it, although I could tell you why. I had a lot of insight and a lot of
mhm,
training in that way. And so that's when I sought out mindfulness. I had heard that that might be something that would
mhm.
be useful to me. And I live in New York City, and luckily there were at that time, especially, were many places I could go to learn to meditate or mindfulness. And I began studying in the Buddhist tradition, and that led me into teaching these practices, and it led me into developing a much more gentle relationship with myself.
Right. Okay. That is amazing that you were in a space where there is actually resources available. And I think it's interesting that you just kind of shifted gear, on what your path going forwards in life was going to look like. I think that's super powerful. So awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and
It was
with the
unexpected, and yet it fit, it
right.
made sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I can totally see how, having a background in psychotherapy could actually be a real asset in working through mindfulness and meditation.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So is that kind of how you got in then to helping others, find the same kind of success and transformation that you were able to find with the meditation?
Yes, very much so, Clarissa. I what I discovered is that these practices, they really work, and
Right,
if you and the brain, the scientific community the last 20 years is caught up with that. There's
right,
so much evidence and science that, if you can start to focus your mind, start to offer yourself words of kindness, that your brain rewires, so it's not
right,
magic,
right.
and anyone can do it. And I've seen it, really transform people's lives.
Right. Yes, the brain can change. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that, and we go through life. I actually had a conversation yesterday with someone, and so much of our life is shaped by, whether we know it or not, but shaped by past experiences or past
Yes.
trauma and things that we may not even really be aware of, but your body remembers. And then you find yourself like in this place of anxiety and depression and just being stuck in life. But you can change the way that you think because you can alter the way that your brain functions.
Yes, beautifully said. And just as you're pointing out, like, many things happen to me and to you, good, bad,
Yes, to everyone.
other, to everyone, to every person. And so they all have results.
Right.
I have habits in my mind, I have conditioned
Hmm.
behaviors. It's not good or bad. And because those were created, it means they're not stuck. We can create new ones. But
Right.
like you said, and it's interesting too, because with positive qualities like kindness, like compassion, like, wisdom, we often, as a society, will say, oh, well, they're very special. I could never do that.
Right.
So and so is so patient. So and so is so giving. But that isn't a truth. We can all develop these, and it's a good reminder, Clarissa, it
Mhm.
gives us confidence and hope.
Right, right. Yes, yes. Everyone has definitely had their own experiences. And, it's whether we choose to stay in that place or whether we choose to alter the way that we approach things. But I believe that the first step in that is, being aware, like, hey, there is a problem, and then being mindful enough to start making those changes to
Yes.
shift.
That's it.
Yeah.
In one of my Buddhist teachers, she says the first step is recognize.
Yes,
It's
it really
exactly
is.
what you're saying. And
Mhm.
and most of us, we we're born, we're raised, we start to
Mhm.
live our lives, and everything's kind of a reaction.
Yes,
This happens and I react, and that
right,
happens and I react. And when you can slow down a little, you can start to see, oh, I have more choice. I don't have
right.
to always
Yes,
react like this. And that's what you're saying. That's when you start to see it. Oh, I could slow down. I can see, oh, I really get myself in trouble there, don't I? I don't have to do it that way.
right, right. That's just so true. And I think it's so powerful. Like we can start to take back some of the control that I think that, like you said, we're born with things, we go about our life and we just react. And it kind of leaves us stuck in that flight or fight place. I can't speak today.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but we don't have to stay there. We can choose to start making conscious changes to live a life that we want to live.
Yes. Beautifully said. And it's very possible. One of the reasons, of course, I come on podcasts. I want people to know me and things
Yeah.
like that. But what I really want people to hear is that you're fine, and
Mhm.
you have all the qualities you need to develop a healing relationship or a loving relationship, whatever words you want to use. That it's really possible. And like you mentioned, many people don't feel that way, and
Right.
it's true.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't feel that way. But then, like you said, having that compassion with yourself to start to make these changes. So, do you find that a lot of women don't have that self compassion?
Yes, and what's interesting, Clarissa, I wonder if you see this too. A lot of them aren't even aware of it,
No, they're
because
not.
they're like
I do.
very good people and they're taking care of
Right.
their kids and their parents and whoever else,
Right.
and it doesn't even dawn on them. Oh, there's a problem here. Everybody, I'm taking care of everybody but me.
Right. Well, I think they don't even realize that they're not taking care of
Yeah.
themselves. Like it's become normalized to skip your meals
Yes.
and to only sleep 5 hours a night and to skip your workout. And, and it's almost like it's perceived selfish to set boundaries to take back some of this time where it's like essential caring for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like you said, that women hear that a lot from a young age. Like, if you want something for yourself, you're selfish. If you don't share, you're
True.
selfish.
True.
And, sort of just noticing those internal voices and how they drive us. Because they're
Hmm.
not true. That is not true at all. Like you just said, I mean, how could I take care of my family if I didn't take care of myself?
Right.
It's ridiculous. One has to do that, and hopefully to be able to do it with gentleness and love and
Hmm.
kindness.
Right. Right. And I think when women choose to, because it is a choice to put everything else in front of our needs and to put our needs last. But I think that when women choose to do that, we see there is more strain on your relationship with your spouse, and there's more frustration with the children, and there's more issues at work. And a lot of that goes back to the fact that we are running on empty.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. We're running on empty. That's where resentment comes up.
Yeah.
That's where frustration comes up. That's where also you, like you said, you're modeling something to your family. And that
Yes.
what you're modeling is, oh, I can do it all. You don't have to worry about me. And that's not good for them or you.
Right, right. And speaking of the modeling, I just actually had this conversation with my son what we choose, the way that we choose to act, and the things that we choose to say, because as you brought up, this kind of behavior where you are sacrificing yourself does indeed lead to resentment. Then you resentfully say things all day long, and oh,
Yeah.
mom is in a bad mood, and oh, mom doesn't like this. That is the example you are setting for your children to grow up and
Yeah.
follow. And I think that at our core, we as parents don't want that, but
Right.
that's what we're showing them is normal.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know, we can only do what we know, right? We
Yes,
didn't, maybe we didn't learn that, but it's possible to start to notice and start to learn without shame about that.
right,
Because a lot of the women clients I have, then they're like, oh, I'm hurting my kids. And, it just becomes I'm a bad person. But
right.
that's not what we're saying, you know?
No, no. I think you touched on something that's really important that we should touch on for a moment, is that shame piece. Because as we start to set boundaries, there is a tendency to feel shame
Yeah.
because you're not killing yourself, and because you are caring for your basic needs, which is
Yes.
ridiculous, and we shouldn't feel ashamed for that. But it
Yeah.
is common.
Yeah. It's really common. And, you know, um, there's a teacher I really have learned so much. Her name is Byron Katie, and she says, um, I love you and no.
Yeah.
Not, I
Yes.
can't do that today. I'm so sorry, or, no, or there's something wrong. It's, I love you and no, that's not possible today. And I think it's very possible to hold both. But like you
Hmm.
said, we're ashamed to say, well, I can't carry that all today. Must
Right.
be something wrong with me. You're going to be mad at me.
Right. Right. No, that is so true. And again, then that is us just taking on more of things we don't need to take on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And another thing that I often see is, just taking everything on, and it's very hard to ask for our own needs,
Oh my gosh, yes.
for these same reasons, right? And then we're ashamed to say it, but then we never, how do we get with our need unless we tell someone?
Right.
And so learning to do that, that it's okay to say, I need to go to sleep early tonight, whatever it is,
Right.
instead of either swallowing it or thinking, oh, my spouse should know. They should know
Hmm.
I'm exhausted, right? And then
Right.
there's all kinds of, right? Confusion.
Confusion and more resentment and
Yeah.
arguments that didn't need to happen if we would have simply
Yeah.
stated our needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. Why is it, do you see or do you think that women tend to have this pattern of behavior? Is it all learned? Is it
I think it's all learned. I'm not a scientist. I,
yeah,
I believe that it's all learned. You can
learned
see
behavior?
I think every culture in the world has biased against women. It's all there. And so we're taught from a young age to kind of make ourselves small, to not need
Hmm.
things. And then we grow up and we have our families and our lives, and it's really hard for us to take up space, is one of the words you'll hear people like
Hmm.
meditation teachers say, create space for yourself. It's hard for me too. I really have to,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I want someone else just to know, and
Right.
right?
Right. Right. But then we would miss out on all of that wonderful self-work that we get to do.
Exactly, exactly. And insight, and
Yeah.
and that's where, mindfulness type of practices and loving kindness sort of practices,
Hmm.
they allow us to maybe see what we might perceive as flaws. I'm not calling these flaws, but often
Right.
women are like, well, I'm imperfect, so it's all wrong. But they allow us to see them in a gentle way. Like, oh gosh, when I'm frustrated, I speak harshly.
Hmm.
That doesn't make me a bad person. That means I'm frustrated and I need to take care of myself. I need to sit down and breathe and be kind. And then I can stay out of that. Oh, I'm a bad person. I'm a bad mom. I'm a bad, what's
Hmm.
wrong with me? Why won't this go away? Well, you can stop right there. Nothing's wrong with you. You're having frustration. It's okay to feel that way. And how can you just sit with it so then you don't need to react out of it?
Right. So more of like holding space for the emotion without assigning any blame.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think so, Clarissa. That is it. Because it's ours. I
Right.
don't like to feel lots of feelings, and
Right.
we make them up, right? It's part of
Same.
human.
Yeah. 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 And I think a lot of us don't like, we're told not to have feelings. So we don't have feelings, and or we think our feelings are unimportant. And so it can be harder to be okay with having feelings.
It really is. And that's throughout our culture, I think, men
Oh
and
yes.
women,
Oh, I
right?
agree.
Nobody
Yes.
learns that in school.
No.
Oh, you're upset? Sit down. Let's breathe. Nobody
Right.
learns that. It's like you
No.
said, you're shamed into things,
Hmm.
or you're shown what's okay, the feelings that are okay.
Right.
And then there's a big pile that aren't.
Right. Right. That's so true. And it's those feelings that are in the pile that's not is the feelings that everyone is ashamed of.
Exactly. Yeah,
Right.
it's terrible.
Right. So how could someone use mindfulness practices to, well, to maybe start to take away some of that shame?
Yeah, yeah, beautifully said. I mean, I think what I ask for most of my students, most of the people that work with me, like step one is simply sitting by yourself quietly. And right now, this
Mhm.
means without devices.
Right.
Most of us have them, going often, and women especially are like, well, I have to, Kim. What if someone texts me? What if?
Hmm.
So being able to say, no, I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to sit by myself. So what
Yeah.
happens there? Well, now you start to feel your own feelings. You don't have a way to get out of your own experience. So you're feeling feelings, and you're also starting to tap into your own body, right?
Hmm.
That you might you'll feel sensations, some pleasant, some unpleasant, but it really is grounding to do that. So that's always the first step that I tell people. Like, it doesn't have to be some magical meditation, sitting cross-legged, getting rid of everything in your brain. It's more like coming to the earth and bringing your energy and attention down out of your head, out of all these devices, out of all the next, what I have to do next. And it starts really just sit down for 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And then after that, there are different meditations. One that is really useful is one called, it's a type of loving kindness meditation from the Buddhist tradition. And all it is very simply saying certain phrases of kindness for yourself and for others. So you might say, may I feel safe. May I feel strong. May I be healthy. May I feel safe. May I feel strong. May I be healthy. May I be gentle with myself. And then, think of people I love and also say that. May you, Clarissa, may you be gentle with yourself. And that's one that the brain scientists like because they can
Hmm.
see if you do that 12 minutes a day, I think is what the minimum was, 12 minutes a day for a few months, they start to see less self criticism, a little more pro social behavior because you're rewiring. I don't, almost everyone I know, including me, Clarissa, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, this went wrong. Oh, what is that? What's the thing I have to do? Right.
Yes.
And
What
this
does
is
it say?
saying, oh, I'm going to wake up in the morning and be, wow, I'm glad to be here. I'm really lucky. Weather's really nice. May I be safe. May you be safe. May the day go well for all of us. That's a big shift.
Yeah, it is for sure. I love that though, um, because it's so true. The way that we talk to ourselves forms so much. It forms our thoughts, it forms more emotions, it forms honestly your baseline health and how your body performs. And it is so wild to think that what you think can have that big of an impact on things.
Yes, yes, it's really meaningful.
It
It
is.
drives our decisions.
Yes.
It's, all of this. And because we're just reacting and we're just used to this whole bunch of thoughts in your head that you just react to and they're real,
Hmm.
then we just have this cycle. It's usually a cycle of suffering that we cause ourselves.
That is true. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, most of our suffering is not from the outside world. It's from ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think people don't realize that, which
No.
is terribly sad. But the more awareness that we can raise, the more people that hopefully, we can touch in some sort of a positive manner.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you did mention 12 minutes of doing this practice. Is that like 12 consecutive minutes? Is that like 12 minutes throughout the day?
It's 12 consecutive minutes.
Okay.
It's just sitting quietly. You can use your phone timer if you want. You
Okay.
can use a guided meditation. I have lots on my website, and the internet is filled with guided audio meditations. Just sitting still without your devices and moving your thoughts in a different way. And it's not easy because, I'll sit for a couple minutes and then I'm off thinking about what I'm making for dinner, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah.
Start again. Oh, there goes my mind. I can begin
Right.
again. May I be gentle with myself. May I be at peace. And slowly, slowly, you can see you're developing an amount of concentration, right? Because
Mhm.
you're just coming back again and again to these words, and you're changing the relationship you have with yourself.
Right. No, I think that's great because like I've done lots of mindfulness practicing, and I know that your mind, it does wander, and if you can just gently correct it, that's helpful. Um and that takes, the blame off you. It's a hard thing to do.
Yes. Yes.
But it's okay, and just, shift your mind back. But one of the things I've also used with mindfulness practices, to really just be in your body, is doing like a body scan. That, because
Beautiful.
that really helps to shut off, like, if you're thinking about how your feet feel on the floor, and how, heavy does your body feel, what do your clothes feel like, when you are thinking things like that, it's really hard to be wondering what time you're supposed to pick the kids up, and if you return a phone call, and do you need to text this person back, and all these other things that are constantly going on in our heads. It's really hard to have those intrusive thoughts if we're really being centered on what does our body really feel like right now.
Beautiful. Yes. Because our sensations, body sensations, are
Hmm.
happening now. They're not
Yes.
happening yesterday or tomorrow, right? You
No.
can't like breathe in the morning. It's happening now. So, like you said, to be able to experience that right now, wow,
Hmm.
that takes you right out of all of the thoughts.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's just
beautiful.
something
Yeah,
I found super super helpful when I'm doing the mindfulness practice, and it shuts off. You can't think about, the list of things to do. You just can't.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. So there's a couple practices for our listeners. I think that's fantastic. I absolutely love that style of like gratitude mindfulness practice. I think that's just beautiful. Um, what else would be a good tool in like learning to shift some of the blame for having feelings, so that we can have a little more
Oh,
self-compassion?
yes, right. The blame for having feelings is, a few years back, an old friend said to me, Kim, this is my year of being human. Do you want to
Oh,
have a year of being human with me? And that's what she meant. To
yeah,
be
that's
human
amazing.
is you feel it all, right? The
Yeah,
boring, the sad, the nasty thought that went in my head. It's all there.
right.
So part of the practice, and as I described it, just sitting or doing a particular type of meditation, part of the practice is allowing all these thoughts to come and go. Because what happens is, you mentioned intrusive thoughts. This is an example of very energetic thoughts. But if I have a feeling, let's say, of anger, and it comes up,
Mhm.
and I really pay attention to it, it goes away pretty fast unless I keep adding to it, right? Unless I'm like, oh, he does that all the time. What? And, off I go. But
Right.
if I can slow down and not add to feelings and notice all the judgment I might have around it, you can't get rid of the judgment at first, but you can notice you have it, and say, oh, gosh, Kim, there I go, judging my feelings again. It's okay. Then it all starts to kind of slow down a little, and that energy gets a lot less.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the practice. And also the practice is at first it's really hard. Like we
Oh
both said,
yeah.
with lots of
Yeah.
feelings we don't want to have, right? It's awful. And so the practice is being so gentle with yourself. Maybe I'm just going to sit here for 5 minutes and feel my feelings, and then I'm going to get up because I
Mhm.
can't do it longer than that. It's too upsetting for me. And slowly, slowly developing this capacity, to hold these hard things.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that. And that's like anything where you're working to change yourself, it's always best to start with something small. You can accomplish like anything if it's small. If you set yourself out, oh, I'm gonna, like my husband, when I first met him, he was like, you need to meditate like half an hour. I was like, you are out of your mind. Because it's too hard. You're not
Yeah.
going to be successful if you set the bar too high. So if we can start really anything with small steps, you're going to be more successful. And when you're more successful, you're going to be more apt to continue to do something rather than feeling like yet another failure because you couldn't
Yeah.
accomplish something.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. One of my Buddhist teachers, her name is Sharon Salzberg, and she's kind of well known. She's written a lot of books, and she said people will always say to her, Sharon, I can't meditate. I
Yeah,
just can't do it.
no,
And she says to them, what are you talking about? If you went and took your first piano lesson, you would not expect to be a concert pianist. You would know it's hard. You have to keep practicing, and
yeah,
it's the same. It's the same for this too.
yes, yeah. It's the same for absolutely anything. And I think just small steps, gradually, one at a time. I
Hmm.
was gonna ask you with sitting with your feelings for 5 minutes, and being aware of them, do you recommend or find it helpful to then write down anything that you experience, or do you think it's fine to just think about those things and then I can leave them there and go about the rest of my day?
Yeah, it's not that I would say it's good or it's bad. It would
Okay.
depend on what your intention is.
Okay.
So, for example, you sit, you be with your feelings. It's a little hard, you're uncomfortable, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you really want to hang on to that grievance. So, you know
Yes.
what, Kim, I have to write this down in my journal. I would say, no, that's not going to serve you.
Right.
How is that going to help you?
Yeah.
Right? And another way though is, wow, that was rough. That was really hard. I'm going to write down my experience because I want to remember that and be kind to myself about what just happened here. So it's kind of having a
So,
different intention.
yeah, I was gonna say, so then the intent there then matters.
Yeah.
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 Okay. That's good to know. I think that's super useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So what is another like kind of, I don't know, I guess pitfall that you see, usually that women kind of fall into with trying to have self-compassion?
Yeah. I mean, just even that we have to say that trying,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? We have to
Yeah, but
try
it's
so
true.
hard. Right. Part of it
Yeah.
is, I should have said this to begin with, defining what that is, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people feel like, especially women, oh, you want me to be nice to myself? I don't have time to take bubble baths all the time. I
Oh,
don't have
yes.
time to get my nails done. Okay. No, you probably don't. That
Right.
is not what we're defining self-compassion as.
No.
Self-compassion is being able to see when you're struggling and being able to bring some kindness to that and help yourself alleviate that struggle, whatever it is. And that's very different than self indulgence, or I'll be nice,
Right.
quote unquote, nice to myself.
Right.
And what I have found, and probably you have too, Clarissa, when you can start to have that sort of compassion for yourself, like, oh, I'm really struggling. It's okay. I'm here for me. You
Hmm.
can start to do that with other people more easily too.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's true. That is
Yeah.
absolutely true. Yeah, and I think that is great that you did differentiate between like the expensive self-care and having actual self-compassion for yourself. And even self-compassion is a form of self-care because you really
Yes.
can't be caring for yourself if you are running this dialogue of how horrible you are constantly in the back of your mind. I
Yes.
don't see how any self-care practices could then be beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. And you must see this very clearly because so many women struggle with weight and the way they look.
Yes. Oh
And,
my,
we
yes.
see them and they think, oh my God, they're so fit. They're doing such a
Right.
great job. but it's
Right.
really coming from, self-loathing or self-worth or
Hmm.
really, terrible, difficult places.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, that is something I stress with all of my clients. And it's more prevalent in like the competitive athletes, but you
Mm,
will never, ever, ever hate your body into something you love. You
right.
have to love it and accept it and care for it and honor it the way that it is right now. And when you do so, then it can perform and be the way that you want it to. But until then, you will be stuck in I'm sorry, but whatever kind of hell you're living in
Yeah.
because you hate yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautifully said.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wish, well, it's on a podcast now. So I wish that like every woman could hear that and like that it would finally ring that bell that we have in our head, like, oh my God, that is the missing piece. I have to love myself this way. I mean, you can have things that maybe you don't like or that you're not that fond of, but you cannot hate yourself.
Yeah.
Your body is
Yeah.
amazing. And if there are things that you don't like, your body is probably simply trying to tell you something.
Beautifully said. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and mindfulness practices are a great way to start to give your body some of what it needs. And
Yeah.
having that self-compassion and recognizing, I love that you said that you are a human and it is okay to have human feelings and human needs. And it really is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you were talking, because that was really, I think that's a deep wisdom to know you can't hate your way into something, you know?
No, you really
And
can.
it's really profound to recognize that. And I was thinking again about something a teacher had said is that, if someone told you or me that sitting and meditating and doing self-compassion for 12 minutes a day would really help our husband, our parent, our kid, what
Mm,
we would do it.
mm. Oh
But
yeah.
when we,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, it's going to help me. I don't know.
Right.
That's
No,
interesting.
you are right. You are so right. But by proxy, it does help them because it makes you a better person.
It does indeed. It does indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes something in my book, Healthy Relationships, and something I say a lot is
Mhm.
when you take care of your own feelings, you are taking care of everybody else's feelings too. Now your
Yes.
kids don't have to guess what's going on.
Right.
Now your husband doesn't have to deal with your anger. And if each
Right.
of you took care of your feelings, then we would have a much more harmonious relationships.
Yes. Absolutely. 100%. And I think maybe part of that is hard because it does you have to have that compassion with yourself, but you also have to have self accountability. And I think that piece is also hard.
I think so too. I think
Yeah.
so too. It's hard. We have, I think, a lot of ideas about what like discipline means,
Right.
accountability
Oh
means,
my
and it
gosh,
has to be
true.
so harsh, right? Like I'm
Right.
just gonna
It's just
beat
not true.
myself up to get it
Yeah.
done, And like you said, no, you do it in a loving way. I'm doing it because
Hmm.
it's taking care of myself so wisely. But it's
Right.
what a balance.
Right. Yes, it is a balance. And maybe that goes back to some of our conditioning where it's all or it's nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, well, I am curious. So you've written, you said 3 books.
yeah, yeah.
Where can we find your books, Kimberly?
Oh, you can get them at any bookseller. Kimberly
Okay.
Brown,
Awesome.
Amazon has them, a lot of bookstores. You could also check my website. It has links and info. My website is meditationwithheart.com. And yeah, you can find them there. And I have a newsletter every week. If people are
Hmm.
interested, you can sign up for that too.
Okay. And that's just there on your website.
It is, yeah.
Mhm. Cool. And do you so like with the meditation guidance, and self-compassion, do you offer any kind of counseling service for that? I should have asked you that in the beginning.
Oh, that's okay. That is mainly what I do. I
Okay.
mean, I teach group classes and I lead
Okay.
meditations too, and you can
Hmm.
find that on the website. But I mainly work with people one on one, and I lead meditation with them,
Mhm.
And then we kind of look at, well, what are these obstacles that I might have that I struggle with to connect with myself, to connect with my feelings? Um, and I work with people around grief. I work a
Mhm.
lot with very successful people who,
Mhm. I believe
they're
it.
right. It's
Yes.
interesting. They're really, good at certain things and still so tough on themselves. So that's interesting. And women, a lot of women
Mhm.
too. Mhm.
Yes. It's the high achieving, over functioning woman. I know.
Beautifully said. I haven't heard that definition, but yes,
Oh,
the
yeah. No,
over
I know
functioning,
that's, yeah,
right?
I know that's who you work with. Yeah, we try. And it is always a work in progress, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but but really life is so much better when you can start having self-compassion instead of beating yourself up over every little thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's even harder when you are used to being high functioning or high achieving because you are so used to doing it alone. And here you're reaching out
Mm.
and you're asking for help. But at the same time, it's almost like a relief because here this person actually knows. And so therefore you don't have to figure it all out.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And real wisdom. Real
Exactly.
wisdom is, you know what you need. Sometimes you need
True.
help. Sometimes you need to do it on your own. But that sense of like, nope, it's all here. It's all me. I have
Hmm.
to break out of that is you will find not just self-compassion, but you're going to find different possibilities.
Hmm.
Creativity arises out of that, right? And
Oh yeah.
different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is hard at first. Like I super struggled with it at first. And it does take practice, but it takes, as you practice, you do develop more self-compassion. And so it does become a little easier.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But you're right. Like on the other side is so much, it's almost like relief because you don't have to do it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Letting go of that.
Right.
There are certain things are in our control. What
Hmm.
we think, what we say, what we
Right.
do, those are all up to us. But what everybody else is doing, it's not up to us. And all
No.
the other things we're trying to, right, get in
Hmm.
there and control it all. And then feel either upset or
Hmm.
feel like a disappointment or a failure when it didn't go. But it wasn't all up to us.
Right. Yes, because we have the circles of control. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there is very, very little that is actually in our little tiny circle.
But you tell that to some people, and I mean, they're like, no, Kim, you're wrong. That's crazy. That's how I got here. It's interesting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that
Mhm.
is wild. But yeah, it is really like a relief to be on the other side of that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Was there anything that you wanted to leave for our listeners that we didn't get a chance to touch on today?
No, I just want to, reaffirm that anybody who's listening, there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
You probably have all kinds of feelings and difficulties. Yes, we all do. And B, it is possible for you to relate to yourself and others in a wiser and kinder way. And you'll find more freedom there, more possibility.
Right. Oh, that's so true. I love that. It's beautiful and it's so, so true. Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Kimberly. I have truly enjoyed talking with you. It's a pleasure to meet you. And thank you for sharing so much valuable information with our listeners. And to everyone that's listening, thank you for joining us, and we will catch you on the next episode.